some may have read in the newspaper, the town has been researching local laws for short-term rentals since 2022. The town of Franklin already has zoning laws addressing bed and breakfasts, motels, and hotels, but there is nothing about the latest trend in tourism. The proposed local law has been reviewed by the code enforcement officer, the county planning board, and the town attorney. It follows the model of 9 other towns in Delaware County as well as other communities. Our goal is not to stop short-term rentals or price gouge them with higher fees or unattainable restrictions. In fact, our proposed inspection fee is $125. Since many short-term rentals are owned and operated by people or LLCs who are not from our area, we hope to put everyone on the same playing field to ensure that the STRs are operated properly, that there is an owner or property manager within 30 miles, and that the quality of life and rights of the neighbors are respected. To this end, a summary of what the local law includes is to try to ensure that building codes are met at the time of inspection, having a caretaker or owner within a reasonable response distance, to ensure that the property is managed and maintained properly, that neighbors are notified about the short-term rental, including contact information for the owner and or caretaker manager, that there be contact information including emergency numbers and phone access for the renters in case of problems or emergencies.
Thank you. Okay, public hearings officially began. Any comments about our short-term rental proposal? Brian?
Okay, I read through it, didn't find anything wrong with it, but I thought it could be clearer on a few points. The definition section, it says the non-residential owner is further than 30 miles. But then in section 9B, it says the non-residential owner does not reside in Franklin. So, which is it? Moving on, permitting section, it begins by saying the initial permit shall be submitted to the clerk. And it ends by saying the clerk shall refer the application to the CEO. But section 4 says the first thing you do is request an inspection. And in section 11 it says proof of inspection will be included with the form. So it seems to me section 9 should begin with something, if the inspection is the first thing you do, that should be in there. Section 10 that says renewal, earlier in it, it says that the permit is to run through January 1st through December 31st. But then in a long paragraph, section 10 on the renewal process, it never mentions that it's an annual renewal. So I'd suggest that the title of that section begins something like annual renewal of permit. And the last thing, just sort of a general comment, there's nothing in there about how the initial year for the permit is going to be handled. I mean, whenever this is filed with the Department of State, you've got 36 people who are breaking the law. So are you going to give them 2 months to come into compliance? Is it optional for the first year until December? I think that should be covered. Anyway.
Those are pre-existing you're talking about?
The 36, the 3 dozen or so people who are out there now.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I'm going to close this public hearing on short-term rentals. Thank you. All right, next we'll start up with the minutes of the meeting from April.
Okay, the regular meeting of the Franklin Town Board was called to order at 6 o'clock by Supervisor Don Smith. Present were Don Smith, Garrett Sitz, Dwight Bruno, Teddy Story, Jamie Archbold, Paul Warner, and Greg Petula. The minutes were read from the March 5th, 2024 meeting. Teddy Story made a motion to approve minutes as read. Dwight Bruno seconded the motion. All present agreed. Randy Bloomfield dropped paperwork to each board member and highway superintendent pertaining to Thoroughbred Road. Jamie Archbold opened the bids for calcium, stone trucking, heating, and diesel. the bids, for heating oil and diesel, we got bids from Maravitos and Reinhardt's, and Garrett made the motion to accept Reinhardt's firm prices for all. Dwight seconded the motion, all present agreed. If anybody wants to know what they are, these minutes will be online, so you can see what each thing was. The stone trucking, we had it from Carter Stone Products and Cobble Skill Stone Products. Garrett made the motion to accept Cobble Skill Stone's bid. Teddy seconded the motion, all present agreed. For calcium, we had 4 bids. They were all for delivered and applied. Garrett made the motion to accept Peckham's bid. Dwight seconded the motion, all present agreed. Garrett reported for the KECC. He said they are cleaning the grounds and cleaning out the attic. They will also be putting a new roof on the garage. Greg reported that code enforcement is getting busier with spring coming. A few new houses are being built. He said the Blueberry Farm has been looking into putting some campsites on their property. And they also need some input for tiny homes / cabins. They either need to change the zoning or decide if they want him to do violations. Maybe they will talk to the planning board. Donnie asked for a motion to send the proposed short-term rental law to the county for 239 review. Garrett made the motion and Teddy seconded the motion. All present agreed. Garrett made the motion to have a public hearing for the short-term rental law on May 7th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Dwight seconded the motion. All present agreed. Jamie had presented 3 bids for 2 backup generators. Garrett made the motion to accept Trimble Electric bid for $21,725 and pay for with the ARPA funds. Dwight seconded the motion. All present agreed. Jamie said it's a time of year to rent a grader again. He also had 3 bids for that, and Teddy made the motion to accept Abley's bid. Garrett seconded the motion. All present agreed. He said they are waiting for the rest of the radios. They have all the sand for next winter already, and they have received CHIPS money from last year of $395,752.70. Jamie has talked to the county about lowering the speed limit on Case Hill Road to 40 miles an hour from State Highway 28 to the 30 miles per hour zone in Treadwell. Also lowering Jackson Hill Road from Case Hill to Meredith Town Line to 40 miles per hour. We need to pass a resolution and send letters to the county and the state. Jamie and Sonia will work on this. Dwight made a motion to lower the speed on Case Hill to 40 miles per hour from State Highway 28 to 30 mile per hour zone in Treadwell. Teddy seconded the motion. All present agreed. Garrett made the motion to lower speed limit on Jackson Hill from Case Hill to the Meredith Town Line to 40 miles per hour. Teddy seconded the motion. All present agreed. Garrett made the motion to go into executive session at 7:20 p.m. for contractual. Dwight seconded the motion. The board returned from executive session at 8:20 p.m. There were 3 bids presented for a new pickup truck to be purchased from ARPA money. They were from Matthews Chevy, Scoville-Mino, and Friendly Chrysler. Garrett made the motion to approve the bid from Matthews Chevrolet for $62,695 to be purchased with ARPA money. Dwight seconded the motion and all present agreed. Garrett made a motion to purchase 4 single doors at $3,039 each and 1 double door at $5,735 to install on the town garage building. Dwight seconded the motion. All present agreed. The meeting was adjourned at 8:27 p.m.
Any corrections? Do we have a motion to accept?
Yes, I move.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, KECC, Garrett's not here, so that's, won't be doing anything unless anyone else has something to fill in on that. All right, Highway, Jimmy?
The new pickup is here, and
The generators have all been installed, we're just waiting for the gas tanks to be put in, and then they'll be online. Most of the doors you can see are installed, we just got the one double door to do, we'll catch that sometime this week. Last month, all the guys took their annual safety training, that's all been completed. The rental grader is here and working, and Sonny and I submitted the paperwork to the county for the speed zone. That's been forwarded on to the state. We've received confirmation that they've got it and they're looking into it. And then we're working on getting ready to pave sometime, hopefully in the next month, weather permitting. And that's all I got for this month.
The pickup truck that we put on, did we get any points on that?
And we'll have to discuss that. We did, but
Okay, that has to be waited until,
yes, we need to.
so you want to go into executive
Yes,
session?
please.
All right. Okay. Transfer appropriation committee, Heather?
The draft budget was completed last month and the final budget will be voted on this month. The rec committee has done some restructuring and they've hired a field sports director along with a pool director. And actively, they're looking to fill a water safety instructor position as well. The next meeting is going to be scheduled, I believe, either Monday or Tuesday of next week, and more information after that.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Code enforcement?
Just driving around, inspecting there's a few houses being built and some garages being built. Been driving around trying to find all the short-term rentals so that I know I'm working on compiling a list of where they're all at, trying to find them because they don't really tell you where they are, like when you look for them, like online, and they don't disclose the location of them until you book the sites. Yeah, so I'm just, I've been driving all the roads and taking the pictures from the Airbnbs and documenting where all the houses are so I know where to send all the short-term rental letters out. Just working on, had a couple of neighbor disputes, property line disputes I dealt with this month, and just working on the, got a campground coming into Franklin Heights Road, not really a campground, 5 sites that he wants to put in there, part of his farm. We're working with him at the planning board, and a couple other people are interested in doing a few other things.
Thank you. Planning board?
Okay, with busy meeting this month, we had a boundary line adjustment on Montego Road. We have an individual who's purchased the Love and Hope Animal Sanctuary, and he is interested in starting a kennel, grooming, and training facility. He's hoping to use the same special use permit that they had for the animal sanctuary, but we don't know if that's really an accurate match. So I don't know, did you look into that anymore?
I'm meeting him on Friday at the property to do a walkthrough of the property, to see what's there. But as far as I'm concerned, as the code enforcement officer, it was an animal sanctuary and it was a non-for-profit. Now it's gonna be a for-profit business. I think they should get a new use permit. They also only did cats before, now they're doing dogs, which you know what happens with dogs. Dogs make noise, and I wanna make sure that, if there's any, any new conditions. I mean, I don't know this, I've never been to the property before, so I've never seen the conditions. I don't know, if there's gonna be a lot of people there coming and going, they're gonna make sure everything's safe and everything. So I'm going up there Friday morning.
One of the issues with that is if it was a new permit, there would be an opportunity to have a public hearing so that the adjoining landowners would be able to see what was going on and express concerns and maybe mitigate some of the situations. The other was the representative or the owner of North Star LLC, which is the Blueberry Patch, was talking about making a 15-unit tenting campground. He's starting with, I believe, 4 plus an accessory building or was it gonna make a little grocery store or something? up there?
Yeah,
little
camp store.
Little camp store sets.
They're gonna be on 30 by 30 platforms, and the units will be yurts. So that's still in preliminary conference, and I believe he's gonna be meeting with you also, and then come back to the planning board next month for possibly another meeting, and then after that would be the public hearing. And then we had the individual who's purchased the former Treadwell School. He has I guess a proposal would be what we call it. He's thinking of having a cannabis processing facility, his food processing, and then possibly having a hotel motel event situation going on down there. So it'd be mixed use. At this point, there's still a lot of questions, including ownership and if there's deed restrictions, what's gonna happen. So that was it.
I'm also meeting with him on Friday.
Be fine.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful building.
Yeah, I've never been there, so I'm also, I have appointments with both of those gentlemen on Friday. So, I'll know more.
Okay, thank you, Teddy. We'll move on to old business. We've had a public hearing on short-term rental. The resolution exists. Is there a motion to adopt our proposed short-term rental agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Okay, next on old business, we have an update from Cedarwood on what's going on with the Treadwell Water District doing. We have ARPA money that is going that direction. Dick, please.
Stand here good?
That's fine.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick Bendel with Cedarwood Engineering. I'm one of the engineers working on the Treadwell Water District. There's been a couple of meetings previously, all advertised to the public, just on future steps that need taken to improve their water supply and possibly a capital project that would result in moving their wells from one location to another so they have ownership. So we're currently in the process of writing an engineering report and then looking forward to submitting in grants this June possibly. And then we might do something when the environmentals come up here shortly. Thank you.
You mentioned earlier something about possibly needing to go into executive session.
Yep.
Do you want to do that still?
Yes, that's okay.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Okay. Next, we have new business. Presentation about the school budget from Kelly Reynolds.
All right, thank you. So as you recall, I came to see you, I believe it's in February, to talk about the state of the school budget. And things were a little bit uncertain then. I'm happy to report that we are in a much better place than we were at that time. If you just want to, I don't know if there's enough for everybody, but if you wanted to share, that would be fine. So the state did come through and restore the funding cuts that they had originally projected that we would receive at the beginning of the calendar year. That is very positive for us. That means that we are able to continue operating our school here in Franklin and to continue to keep all of our students here in Franklin. There was a lot of uncertainty about what may happen. So the governor is not being very kind to education at the moment. Although we did get restoration of funding, we did not get any increase in funding in comparison to year. So obviously expenses do continue to rise on a regular recurring basis. So the school, we are trying to do our best to make sure that we can keep programs functioning and keep students here in Franklin for the foreseeable future. So I wanted to take this opportunity. We have the school budget vote coming up in a couple of weeks on May 21st to kind of go through some of the amazing things that have been happening at the school and ask you to come out and vote that evening. So one of the great things I love about Franklin is that we have students from pre-K through 12 in one building, which really lends itself to a lot of opportunities for the students to work together, to have some experiences with co-learning and across different opportunities for them. So if you flip over the page, you'll see some pictures of a pumpkin there. So this was one of my favorite things that we did this year. That is Pumpkin Jack. So this was a cross-curricular experiment that involved our elementary classes, our science classes, and our library. So it started with the 4th grade class carving a jack-o'-lantern at Halloween time. and like any class would do, learning about the holidays and their traditions and such. And they read about that in the library. And after they carved it, candy started to get a little wilty, started to look a little not so great. They put them in a container with some moist soil and they sealed them up. And then they watched him decompose over several months. And they talked about this in science class, and they had, they took some observations and some measurements and such. And then if you look down here at the bottom of the page, you'll see this lovely lady with the striped top on. She's holding a jar that's full of sprouts. That's Jack. He sprouted. He decomposed and then he sprouted again. And then we planted him in our raised beds outside of the school. So we are now growing pumpkins for our elementary students to harvest next fall as well. We have been very fortunate we were able to add back an agricultural program to the district curriculum this year. It's been a number of years since we've had those opportunities for our students. Our agriculture teacher is incredibly enthusiastic. She's been a breath of fresh air, really taken some of these kids under her wing. And we have some amazing things happening in our lab. We have hydroponics, we have aquaponics, we have raised garden beds. They are growing vegetables that we're using in our cafeteria. They're serving to our students, things that are grown right there with their own hands. It's really been a great experience. We have an FFA chapter again here in Franklin that was inactive, I think, for about 30 years. A number of students just went out to Buffalo to the statewide convention last week. One of our students was honored, Katie Sanford. She actually received her own personalized FFA jacket for her work with the club. We have a lot of kids that are really enthusiastic, and it's a really exciting program that's really drawing a lot of interest with our kids, and we're really excited to be able to continue it for the next several years. We're having some great work coming from our musicians and our artists in our school as well. At the bottom of the second page, you'll see a thing here that says I Hate Musicals, a musical review by Sage Utter. Sage is a junior at our school. She wrote and directed this play that our drama production put on. Unfortunately, the weather canceled the public production, but they were able to produce it for our students in our classes. So that was a pretty amazing feat, this young woman. She's quite amazing. And then our artists and our musicians have been featured statewide at NISMA celebrations in all county, and they're really representing our school very well. And if we flip over, you'll see some interesting things that are happening with athletics this year as well. So to be considered a scholar athlete team, all of the athletes on that team have to have a minimum grade point average of 90 or higher. Most of our teams accomplished that feat this year, so those athletes are working hard on the field as well as in the classroom. We had 2 boys make it to state championships for wrestling this year. One of them placed 4th in his weight class in the state championship. And our longtime coach, JJ Lang, he and his team achieved his 300th victory as the girls varsity soccer coach this year. So our athletes are doing amazing things on the fields as well. And our students are always very much connected to the community. We do things in the school like annually we have a food drive around the holiday season to help the food pantry. We have our annual Veterans Day event where we welcome veterans into the community, into our school district. We serve them breakfast. They put on a little program and salute them. I cry every year when the kids sing. It's very emotional and it's very touching. We have our annual Senior Citizen Luncheon at Thanksgiving every year. This year we had about 70 senior citizens come in. They come in, they have lunch with us. We have a full turkey dinner spread they put on. The kids put on a little production. The kindergartners do their little turkey thing. It's really exciting. This year, our agricultural program put together a pet bowl around Super Bowl. So it was an event to raise supplies for the local animal shelters. So they collected food and cleaning products and things along those lines. I think the kitties won. There was a competition between the kitties and the puppies. And then there's been lots of community partnerships happening here in Franklin. We are very lucky to have a lot of local talented people. So for example, our elementary classes viewed and went to Charity Farms in fall. They were able to go over to the pumpkin patch, to the corn maze, and go over there. A group of our students went up to Erna Morgan McReynolds and Tom Morgan McReynolds farm up there and saw the daffodils, the fields and fields of daffodils as they were learning about spring and germination and the parts of the flower this year. And our FFA was able to go to a local farm and really see the day-to-day workings of a farm. So it's really great to have that support and those partnerships here in our community. So our students are doing very well academically. You will see that last year, 88% of our students graduated on time. Now I want to point out that 12% represents a single student. Our class sizes are small. I think last year we graduated, 17 students. So a single student did not graduate in 4 years. Now keep in mind that seniors last year, they were 9th graders when COVID hit. So 9th grade home remote the end of the year. 10th grade, 2 days a week, really not getting back into things into their junior and senior year. So that was quite a feat, but there was only one that needed a little bit of extra time. That student did graduate at the end of the summer, finished their credit recovery, and was successful. That's a little bit abnormal for us. Typically, for the last several years, we have had 100% graduation rate. We do a really good job here in Franklin, keeping track of the kids, making sure they're on task, helping them, making sure that they get through what they need to do. 83% of the students who graduated last year received a Regents diploma. That means they had to take and successfully pass New York State Regents exams in the area of English, social studies, math, science, and a foreign language. And 2/3 of the class received a CTE endorsement. That means they went to a BOCES-sponsored program such as conservation or culinary, and they successfully completed those programs and got those skills as well. So to continue all these great things for next year, we are proposing a budget of about $8.4 million for next year. As I mentioned, we did not have any additional state aid. It's flat in comparison from year to year. So we had to really put our thinking caps on, think about where we could shift things around, how we could make things work within the best parameters that we have. We are maintaining all grade levels at Franklin next year, and we have made a commitment to maintaining the programs as much as possible within the fiscal constraints of the budget. We are asking for an increase in the tax levy of 4.02%. Now, I know that number seems high, but a 1% tax increase only gets the district about $30,000 of additional revenue. And an increase on a property valued at $100,000 is only going to see an increase of about $69 for next year. So you can kind of keep that in mind based on what your personal property is valued at. And many taxpayers are eligible for reduction in their taxes in the form of the New York State STAR reduction, which for next year is estimated to be $421. So our budget does have to be voted on by the community. If it were not to be passed successfully, we have a couple of options. One of those would be a contingency budget. Under a contingency budget, there are legal things that we can and cannot do. First of all, under a contingency budget, we cannot raise taxes at all. So we would automatically have to reduce the amount of our budget by the increase in taxes, which would then equate to how are we going to rearrange those, what things are we going to look at to reduce that amount of expenditures. We also cannot allow community groups to use our facilities or our grounds for free of charge. So right now, if an organization wants to have an event or they need to have practice fields, we've got some recreational programs going on, t-ball, we have basketball in the wintertime. They fill out a form, they provide proof of insurance, and we let them use our facilities. Under a contingency budget, that would no longer be an option. We would have to come up with some sort of fee structure to charge for use of the building, if a custodian had to be on duty, utilities, etc. So that would add additional cost to additional programs here in our community. And because we would have to reduce the budget by the amount of the increase in taxes to about $126,000, there would have to be conversations and decisions made about what things would be taken out of the budget. Would it be programming? Would it be staffing? There have to be some decisions and some conversations happening to get to that figure. We are also asking for the approval of a bus purchase for next year. We have a fleet replacement plan. We replace our buses pretty much on a rotating cycle between 8 and 9 years. We find that that is the really sweet spot where the cost to maintain that bus starts to exceed the cost of purchasing a new bus. Now, all our buses are inspected twice a year by New York State DOT. One of the things that they like to fail school buses for is rust, believe it or not. That's a little problematic here in the Northeast when we have a heavy winter. So there gets a point when that additional body work that has to be done really starts to be cost excessive, and it is to the district's benefit and the taxpayer's benefit just to replace that bus completely. We do get state aid on buses, 65% aidable. So the net cost to the district for a bus for next year is about $57,000. We pay for buses on a 5-year cycle, over 5 years, and we do that because the state aids the buses on a 5-year cycle so that the money going out matches the aid coming in so that there's minimal impact upon the taxpayers. So as I mentioned before, the budget vote is May 21st, Tuesday, from noon to 8 p.m. I do encourage everyone who lives in the district to please come out and vote. Please spread the word. And just in case you're interested, those are our seniors from last year. Any questions for me? Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to come.
Thank you. All right, next up is set a public hearing for alternative energy proposal. which will be set for June 4th at 7:30 at our next public hearing, our next public meeting. That will be in Treadwell at the Treadwell Firehouse. Do I have a motion to set this in motion?
I'll make a motion.
Seconded.
1 second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll have a public hearing on our proposed alternative energy systems, and that will be at 7:30 on June 4th at Treadwell Firehouse. Thank you. Okay, next we have the Old Franklin Day proclamation. Heather, could you please read?
Sure. Whereas Old Franklin Day was first established in the early 1980s as Save Stone Hall Day, money raised helped replace the roof and build the porches, and whereas Old Franklin Day continued for many years as a successful and enjoyable community event, which subsequently became New Old Franklin Day with revenue going to community products, and whereas after a recess due to the pandemic in 2022, Connie Martin spearheaded the revival of Old Franklin Day as a means to bring the community together for a day of fun and fundraising by local organizations, and whereas Old Franklin Day provides a wonderful day for people to have fun, meet with new and old friends, eat great food, shop at many vendors and lawn sales, and enjoy our beautiful town and village. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Franklin Board proclaims Saturday, August 24th, 2024, Old Franklin Day, and conveys its gratitude to the organizers and participants in this wonderful event.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, do I have a motion to accept this proclamation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried, thank you. Okay, with nothing more at this time, do we have open discussion from the public?
Hi, Donnie. Hi, everybody. I've been in touch with the Sheriff's Department twice now. They suggested that I share this, so I thought I should share it. This is a community issue. Kind of goes under the category of safety, maybe scams. So there is a current scam happening. I know because I go through my credit card bill every month. Some people don't because they are busy. And when there's a small charge, sometimes you overlook it. The charge looked very legit. It said, all paid Delaware County. The phone number was a 607 number. It was the Delaware County Clerk's office. I spoke to the clerk, obviously. And the website was DelawareCountySheriff'sOffice.org. But there was a misspelling in the website. So after going through with the clerk and looking through to see if there was any charge, it was only a $21 charge. It was not a big deal. So that's why I think it's easy to overlook. I was put in touch with the Sheriff's Department. They took a report. And of course, the credit card company was advised, and they covered me because usually our credit card companies cover us when there's fraud. So it has happened twice in the last 3 months. And I know the Sheriff's Department is working on a Facebook post, but not everybody is on Facebook. And I just thought to share it because the charge is small, but I agree with the sergeant that there are probably thousands of people getting these small charges, and maybe they don't realize it, or maybe it's coming soon onto their statement. And I just thought I would share it to the community so that they're aware.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Speaking of scams, I had a friend of mine, she put her utility check bill in the mailbox with the flag up. Didn't think anything about it. Next month got 2 bills for the month before, and the bank she found out that somebody had stolen the check, washed it, and run it for $4,000 some odd dollars. So you gotta kinda watch that. They take it right out of the mailbox, and I'm sure they see the flag up, they just run by, pull it out, go on down the road.
This was local, Dan.
Excuse me, it was only on,
Happened to us
Oh, no.
too. Same
Okay.
thing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Anyone else?
About the ARP funding, my understanding is it's almost all been spent.
Excuse me?
The ARP funds, it's almost all been appropriated.
Yes.
We've had an accounting of about 114,000 that's going to the highway department. 80,000 is going to Treadwell. Do we know if any of that money has been spent yet? Or what it's been spent on?
For which one?
For Treadwell, out of the $80,000 appropriation for Treadwell. Has any of that been spent and for what?
A very small amount.
About $3,500 to Cedarwood Engineering.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Derek, I live on Sherman Hill Road. I was just, like when, I don't know, whenever it rains or it's like, you know, the weather doesn't get like that bad, but it just, that road becomes like dangerous, you know? There's been times where, you know, you're going like 15 miles an hour even, and it'll start like pulling your car off the road. And I don't know, it's paved like right after Sydney Center, but there's just like that section, or like the Sydney town line. But there's the whole section up the hill and everything, it just, I don't know, I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that. I know it gets fixed like 2 times a year roughly, but yeah, that's an issue that I just wanted to present, I guess.
Address that, Jimmy.
Yep, we'll take a look at it. The weather's been wet early on, so we work it the best we can with the conditions that we have, so. We bring more gravel in, try to fix it, but there's not a whole lot we can do at certain times of the year.
Is there anything that we could do for the future for the road? It's just like really, like, it's just scary. We have 2 kids and I've lived on that road almost 10 years now, and it's like, that's the worst part about like living upstate for me. Like, is just sadly just the road that we live on. Like you know, we'll have like a snowstorm come and then we'll be stuck at home for like days at a time. Meanwhile, like all the other roads are completely fine, and it's just scary, and like we have to, you know, do the whole like studded tires every year because it's just terrifying. We've had some instances where like we've almost gone off the road, so.
We don't leave it for days at a time in the winter.
I'm not trying to insult you, I'm just saying like where we live, it's like the potholes are so bad, it's like damaging to our vehicles and stuff, and it's been something that's been an issue for like ever, as long as I've been there, so I guess we kind of just wanted to see if there was something that we could do, because I know that the other side of our road is paved, which I know that's the Sydney Center side, but like I was just curious if like something more could be done with our road.
Not in the near future, so, other than just maintaining it, reworking it and putting gravel down, so. There's just more traffic up there now than there has been, so they're gonna cause more potholes. People drive too fast. It's just a combination of things, so.
What would someone have to do to try to figure out how like to not just have the potholes fixed like once or, you know, twice kind of thing? Like, I guess what I'm saying is like, is there any way in the future that we could like get it like even a fraction of it like paved so it's just not so dangerous, like?
In the future, it probably will, so.
Okay.
But it takes time, so.
Yeah, no, I'm just coming from like the standpoint of like really like just like the mom's standpoint. Like, it's scary driving down the road with like the kids and stuff. Like, there's not even a guardrail up on the top of the hill, so it's like, that's it. I was just, you know, just safety wise, just concerned.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, motion to go in executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Seconded?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you all.